And now, from Grid Square Echo Mike 48, this is 100 Watts and a Wire.
Well, let's do it like this tonight, y'all. Oh. Rip your face off Friday night. 100 Watts and a Wire. Amateur radio amplified on 100 Watts and a Wire. It's Christian. My call sign is Kilo Zero, Sierra Tango Hotel. And whether you're an experienced ham, are you experienced girl? Or if you're just starting out, this podcast was created to mentor, entertain, and provide our community a place to gather. Episode 397. And look who's here, look who's here. Let's see, this music might jump up a little bit. You like that, Scotty? Rock your face off.
Sounds familiar.
Rock your face off. Hello, everybody. Welcome to 100 Watts and a Wire. A new night. People say, "See, child, how long is this going to last here, man? What's the deal here, man?" And I guess we need to talk a little bit about. Oh, and I should say hello to Scotty. Scotty is here. KC3BXN is joining us, holding down the East Coast. I know. Before we get too deep in it, some of you people are going to be like, "Where's that bitch Sidecar Steve?"
Oh,
great question. Mickey Maliki Hahu, or whatever the song is. He's working on cutting a new song for Christmas time. He is in Hawaii right now, and I send him a text because we did a 10-minute countdown, and I'm like, "You gonna make it in?" And I quote, "Not today." He could have been washed up on the beach. I don't know. We didn't have high expectations at all for this. And I just said, okay. And then he writes back, quote, "The internet has been a bitch today at the hotel. Too many dropouts in service the past couple of days." So There you go. I think he's...
Sounds like my router excuse from a few weeks back.
It's yes, you guessed it, everybody. Contract negotiation time. All these pictures he's sending in on the Discord. Here I am having my drink. Fancy umbrella. And Mai Tai is large beer. I think it's from last year. It's really a contract negotiation. So Sidecar Steve, we can't ever get him where everybody signed up at the same time. What are you going to do? But anyway, we're happy to have you guys here. We're doing this on a Friday night. And I know we got a couple messages, not too many. It's almost like the net. You know, the net happens Sundays at 7 o'clock Central Time. But we always don't have the same frequency. You know, we have to move around a little bit. It's like, I'll see you on 40 meters. Look it up on Nutlogger or whatever it's called. Get it on there and find it, and on our socials where we put it. Oh, don't get me started on socials. I got to talk about that. But first, one thing at a time. Steve's running, doing his thing. Says he's in, I'm doing air quotes for the listeners this week. He says he's in Hawaii.
That's his story anyway.
That's his story, and I think it's you guys will be paying for this, was my last message from him. Just kidding. He's out there having a good time, and he likes to go out there with his wife, and God bless him. It must be a wonderful thing to be out there in Hawaii. Scotty and I are stuck in our normal spots in the studio that you know. Although Scotty's got a green room, which is pretty fly, we all have our own thing. When we take the show out on the road, everybody's got their own thing. We don't even speak to one another until right at the time, and that keeps our relationship fresh.
We got the Jay-Z van, and everyone's got their own trailer compartment.
Everybody's got their own little cubby for their crap, and a bench chair or whatever. So, you know, I was talking a little bit about the show, moving it around. Over the 9 years that we've been doing this, and 2015, I was recording the show by myself at like 5:30 in the morning on a Monday, right? We didn't do live streaming until, you know, a couple years ago. And I've fallen in love with it because I love the interaction. And it helped lead me to Scotty. We found Scotty, and Scotty's helping out because he keeps an eye on things that's kind of He's the what you call the back door man, and there's more air quotes there. He's watching the backside. I don't know, man. It's just a rumor. It's a Maryland thing. I don't know. I got to bring some people in to testify about that. But a couple years ago, we started streaming the show. I met Scotty and brought Scotty in, and live streaming's become really cool. And over the 9 years, this show is recorded at different times in different places. So I'm grateful that anybody who comes to kind of watch us record it live is here. We take the audio, send it off to the audio division. They lower, what is it called when they lower my voice a little bit more? So I got the Barry White filter.
Little pitch shift.
Yeah, they pitch shift me. So because this is not how I sound, as it's going out to the stream, I sound, let me hit the button. It's more like this. So I sound like this in normal times, and I give it to Scotty, and he takes my voice. And it just takes a second to catch up, and there we go. Everything's good. But I remember doing Monday morning at 5:30. It was the earliest, it was the quietest time in the house. One of the things they teach like new podcast type people is find the quiet room, and when's it going to be the most quiet in your crib, that kind of deal. And so 5:30 in the morning, with 9 years ago, my kids were much younger. One of them wasn't even around. So, and then it moved to something else. I brought somebody in. We got to streaming, and then Steve's in, and we're navigating these schedules, and everybody's professional and got their own thing. So that's a lot of words to say thank you for anybody who came by. I don't know if Friday night's going to stick. I don't get too committed to the notion that we would be locked in here all the time. One time we used to do Saturday mornings. This was before Scotty joined. I think Scotty was listening to the podcast probably back in the day. And then when we first started doing the streaming, it was like Saturday morning at 9 o'clock. And it was super early for Steve, but he was up because he had little puppies, and they had to go out to go to like a piss or whatever. And then he would be like, oh yeah, I'm up. They get me up. I got to get up. I'm like, okay, cool. So then we started doing Saturday mornings, and then it moved to Sunday nights, and, it gets around. It's like Tupac sang about us. Tupac's song, I Get Around, was about 100 watts in a wire. Anywho, there you go. I knew because, Tupac went to school at the Peabody in Baltimore. So he's got a Baltimore connection. We're Tupac and our friends. I'm not going to say I produced any Tupac records, but, maybe. Definitely not. I would have loved to. I like Tupac. Scotty, what's going on the East Coast? Talking about the Maryland area. What the hell is going on?
Well, it's not as nice here as it is in Hawaii, I would imagine. We're sitting at 46 degrees and rain and drizzle. Good times. Not much going on. Just trying to adapt to the Friday night thing. It's rushing home from work and got to get all the businesses in before I can hop in the hot seat.
I will translate for you. He needs to shower. The 3 S's Scotty's talking about. I don't know if the shave made it, but the other 2 S's have made it, according to
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
I did send my question asking about the weather in paradise right now to Steve. Scotty thinks these messages will take the long path, and we may not get answers promptly. Someone asked if I took a pod class. See, I can't even say it. No, I did not take that. I did not take Speech 101. I can't get the words out. The Buffalo Trace may be settling in just a little bit. No, I would teach a podcasting class, but a lot of people talk about, I don't even remember what I mentioned with that note, but I didn't. Broadcasting took me in the early 90s. I was a young fella, and I got lucky to be able to work around a lot of different people in Baltimore and Philly. But podcasting, it definitely became a thing for me around 2010. I started podcasting, and in 2015 for this one. Before that, it was kind of audio in demand is what they were kind of calling things. Producers like me would create packages or interviews for people, and then they would put it up on the websites, and people could listen to it whenever they wanted to. And so there was audio on demand. It had a different label, and then podcasting exploded. And now I do help people who are trying to learn how to. But anyway, thank you for that question. If you have a question, put a Q in front of it. And Scotty and I will try to handle it. We are going to talk a little bit about end-fed antennas. I was asked by Sheena, actually. I don't know if the 0.001% of our audience, which is ladies, if she's still here. She was, but she asked if we could talk about end-fed antennas, so we will do that with you this evening, among other things.
Oh,
well,
hey,
I'll turn the cameras off, you freaky bitch. My last show I did a solo show because I was kind of teetering on the edge of not feeling well, and then my daughter was sick. My God, don't even get me started. She's doing much better. Appreciate the people. A couple people reached out. Really appreciate that because I mentioned it. I usually don't talk about my girls beyond my girls part, but the little one was sick for like 3 weeks, and these friggin' doctors, and they've been our doctors for a long time. This is the thing. But they want to build the immune system up, so they don't want to give you antibiotics. This just in from Sidecar Steve. He sent a photograph that I can't show you as the listening at home. It's 79 degrees and sunny. Best day of the week. Cruise ship in the L.A. I don't know what that means, but wherever he is. Yeah. So let me send him a question now. Question. Are you drunk on the beach again? All right, we'll send that off. Sidecar Steve. Long path. Anyway, so these doctors won't treat the kids, man. They see them. They make sure they're not going to like fall over. And then the next thing you know, they're like, thanks for that $25 copay. We're not going to give them any medicine. It's like maybe a 3 to 5 day thing. Check it if you got a fever. Come back and call us. 7 days. It's the 10 to 14 day thing. 21 days into this, and we go back, and I'm like, I told my wife, you got to go, because I went the second time because I will try to choke this guy out.
Right.
Because, you're watching your kids. They're sick, and they need relief, and like doctors we probably don't have any doctors here, but maybe we do. You got to listen to the moms, dude. The moms know. They've got this thing. They've got it, and they know. They can tell, and she was worried it was going to get to pneumonia. Oh my God, it was one of these things. And finally, we went to a different doctor, like a same network kind of thing, but a different place in a different town. And the doctor saw an ear infection, which had not been there earlier in the time. It's just a new thing. And they caught it, and they were like, here's some antibiotics. Now the kid's getting better. Like,
good.
So anyway, it's one of those things. Being a parent that's the hardest part. I think one of the hardest parts is watching your kids struggle with that kind of nonsense. This in from Sidecar Steve. He says, always. He sends the emoji with the sunglasses. My tie is running low. Okay. We're doing a live show. So keep your answers steady. Hello, I'm drunk again. 50 ohms. That's what he tells the people. Just 50 ohms. Match it up. Match it up. Hello to our friends who are joining us. You're welcome to join us in the chat every week. We appreciate you being here with us. And 8 o'clock. I don't know if this is good for you. If it's good for you, let us know if you're here. And you can write to me during the week and let me know. It doesn't matter for our podcast listening audience. They listen whenever they want to. That's kind of the beauty of it. What happens from here is we take it, package it up real tight, and Scotty puts it in his basket, much like E.T. on his bicycle, and then he takes off and delivers it like Paperboy. Remember that game? To every subscriber. Takes him about 6 minutes, and you got it. And everybody's got it by then. The 6 of us, we all have it.
It's a lot faster these days than taking reels of tape to everyone like in the old days.
Yeah, like we hear the stories of Amateur Radio Newsline. Ted Randall, I don't know Ted's call sign. I don't really know Ted well. I've talked to him a couple times. he did an interview with Bill Pasternak before Bill passed, and he talked about Amateur Radio Newsline and the roots of that show and how they used to be able to, like, they would ship out tape, for stories, and it would go out to the different places. And man, the digital, the cloud, and it's a good time to be alive. Scotty and I can share files. Oh man, can you imagine the postage, reeling it up? And
I can't imagine, like, have it on the 1/4-inch machine. I gotta reel it up on a broadcast hub, an NAB hub.
I got one back here. You can kind of see it's kind of small, reel to reel back over my shoulder back there. Nice. Still works.
What machine is it?
I don't know. Let me. It's a Sony. It's a Sony. I'll tell you about.
Swanky. That's a swanky machine.
The TG. I got to stand up, and then you'd see I wouldn't be wearing pants. But I'll tell you what it is.
So Sony made some fine machines back in the day.
It still works. I have a tape on it. You can't really tell, but if you look behind me, there's a reel-to-reel player. But we had bigger ones in my broadcast studios, and Scotty's talking about things that are much bigger. But you had to thread them up. You get your wax pencil, and oh boy, you had to be pretty accurate.
And your demagnetized razor blade.
Yeah, and you cut it, splice it back together, and then you play it back. But interesting, if you ever get to listen to Ted Randall's interviews, he's got some audio out there too. I guess he's got the podcast. I'm not paying attention. My hands are full. I can't pay attention to the landscape like listening that I might want to do at some point. But I listened to that one, and it's such a good, because it's a, the man passed on, but it's a little glimpse into his life and how he created this and the struggles and all that stuff. And even on our channel, my interview with Hap Holly, and he told me nobody had interviewed him in 30 years or more, and he loved it. And, I'm talking to him and he's weeping. We have that. I need to probably run that back sometime, because it's more of an oral history with him. He did the Rain Report. And he did that for a long time. And Bill Pasternak, I'm geeking out a little bit here because it's kind of radio and it's amateur radio, right? So Pasternak talked to Hap in the early days about, and advised Hap about what he should do and with the Rain Report. And, he was kind of like, yeah, do it. Do that kind of thing. And it was just different. Hap needed a little more space. He wanted stories to kind of unfold in a bigger kind of package. And I do work from time to time with Amateur Radio Newsline, and it's like a minute 20, and it's a lot going. It's packed. Karen Eve Murray, a friend of mine and ours. Oh man, it's like da, 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 and it's call signs like, ripping off call signs. Brad, and it's just bang, bang, bang. And for Hap, I remember him telling me he kind of liked to go a little deeper into the stories, and so that's where those two differed. And I don't know how the hell I got on this topic, but you started it. It was about tape machines and
all about the tape machines.
Damn, sharing tape machines. Audio and recordings with other people. But imagine a day not so long ago, working with Scotty. I would be pulling things off of machines, sending it, going to the mailbox, posting, sending it out to him. He'd have to go get it. The time now that we can just drop it. Like this piece right here, and you could probably tell us a little about this piece, but this piece right here, he chopped this mess up and came, like, no problem. He's like, here's a 30-second and a 60-second of this, next.
90 seconds.
I'm like, I loaded it up.
Then Wynn just used Discord for that file transfer, too.
Oh, yeah, you're just like, here, man, take it here. I'm getting sleepy. Can I just dump it here? Who is this, by the way? This is a friend of the family, right? We got
This is a very close friend of the family. I consider him the drummer is considered to be my nephew. They put Kelly and I up in their homes after a couple of the Ellicott City floods, and he's was a wee lad then, and now he's a teenager playing in a metal band, and they've been doing some recording, and they're sending the tracks to via these new digital ways of sending files, sending the tracks to Uncle Scotty to throw them into Pro Tools and mix them and do the mixes for them.
Oh, wow, for real?
Yep.
Wow. Just let it play out here. It's only a minute, but what do you guys think of that? That's the rock and roll, man. Those kids are playing fast.
That's the intro riff.
Sounds like a double bass. I figured new night. We got a little rocking going on, and it sounds like a double bass pedal maybe going on there. And
definitely, yeah, he's got the double bass thing going on, and they got 3 guitar players in that band. They're all like 16, 17 years old. They're having a blast,
ripping it. Well, good for you to get in there and to do that. All right, very good. I talked about social media. Oh, where are we? I guess we got to take a break, Scotty. We're doing a damn business. Actually, let's go with this week in radio history. Everybody is taking notes here. Tell me what happened on March 20th, 1902. I was just a little dude back then. In fact, I don't remember things until about 1916. So 1902.
I was drunk on the beach in Hawaii.
Yeah, that's something. He's sending me pictures here, and I'm just like, every time I look over, it's like, here's me with a wave, me on a surfboard. I'm like,
jackass.
He's sitting there listening right now, going, give me that money, give me those monies. March 20th, 1902, Nathan Stubblefield. We remember him. He came from around the way. He demonstrated ship-to-shore broadcast to multiple receivers in Washington, D.C., not too far away from where Scotty and I grew up. March 27th, 1899. Now, this is definitely before my time. Marconi transmits across the English Channel. He would have been a cool guy to hang out with, man. He could have been a real a-hole, but for what we know of him, or just crazy, you know, like, I gotta do this, I gotta send it across the English Channel. I'm like, dude, I just want to play marbles. You want to play marbles? No? Okay.
Can I get 98 Rock on this thing?
Yeah, I'm gonna start something called 98 Rocks. Forget about your marbles, son. Okay, let's go. Let's see, we got some events that are happening here, and it always seems to surprise me, but we're in full swing. Things are heating up. It's actually the spring, right? What do they call it? The spring equinox or whatever?
Yes.
I think Monday was actually really springtime. What's going on with the ham radio events, Scotty?
The spring has sprung. Happening right now as we speak. The CQ Worldwide Wordall Prefixes Contest is going on, the single sideband version that started at about an hour and 20 minutes ago. And that goes through this 26th, so tomorrow. What else is going on? We have the 25th, the First Class CW Operators Club is having their 2023 QSO party. Couple of events, special event stations. We have a National Vietnam War Veterans Day special event station, and 3 TAL from American Legion Post 275, and right here in Lanham, Maryland, we'll have a special event station for Veterans Day, Vietnam War Veterans Day, and March 31st, a special event station, National Tater Day Festival. Yam it up, as they call it. KM4 JZJ. Hosting a special event station for the National Tater Day Festival in Benton, Kentucky. And there's a few more special event stations going on, and some other weekend contest activity. You can check that stuff out on the events channel on our Discord server.
Wow, I like the way you tease that. He's like, I'm not going to give it all to you, girl. Just doing this sexy music, just a tip. You just get the tip tonight, and then later in Discord. Oh, I like that, Scotty. That's nice. Perfect timing for me to
learn from the best.
Yeah, this is a good time for us to pause and talk about our sponsor. Okay, good. That was the pause. I'm trying to clear that space so they're like, yeah, we came out all of a sudden. You were talking about the tip and giving somebody something a little later, like the whole thing. You know, leave it to me.
Talk about that sponsorship.
It wasn't wrapped in a PowerFilm solar sold from Gigaparts, jackass. That's what I'll hear later from our sponsor, PowerFilm Solar and Gigaparts, providing quality solar power solutions for your portable operating needs. To explore PowerFilm Solar's selection of quality products, visit gigaparts.com and search 100 watts. That's the easiest way for you, and it's free, to support this show. Go to gigaparts.com, and when you see the search bar, just put 100 watts, one thing, click it, Doom, not Doom, Boom. I'll say Boom, not Doom. Doom is not good. We don't want that. But I think they're counting that those clicks, that engagement is what they're interested in. So we appreciate anything you can do with that is helpful. If you also find value in 100 Watts and a Wire, you can support the content and the community you enjoy by visiting buymeacoffee.com/100watts. And did I get that one out of there? Yeah, get on out of there now. It's as easy as buying us a cup of coffee or a cup of whatever. And you can consider the benefits of a monthly contribution. Our dipole level is $1 an episode, just $4 a month. It's actually cheaper than a cup of coffee. Visit buymeacoffee.com/100watts today, and thank you. We've got new supporters to thank, and I've misplaced that. But I will, you know who you are, and I will give you a proper thank you. So if you have a question, put a Q in front of it. Thank you for the kind words about my daughter here in the chat. I do, and I would very much like to interview Phil, our friend Phil, who checks into the 100 Watts and a Wire Sunday Evening Net every week. And I'd love to sit down with him because you get little nuggets from his story as a Navy man. He was in the Navy. He's a veteran. He's 84 years old. And he joins us every week. And if he doesn't check in for more than a week or so, we start to we get worried. And there was a time around Christmas, I think. And we were like, well, it's Christmas. But it's been like 4 weeks, dude. Next thing you know, they're sleuthing it out. They're getting his number, and they're calling him. I think Steve butt dialed him one day and got all, talking to talk to Phil today. So if I can get him on, it's the technology I want. I don't want to say he wouldn't be able to get into this, but I wonder. And I've imposed a couple of times to say, we'll come to your house for field day. That'll be fun. We'll wear masks and whatever you require. And I'll have to think about that, Christian. I'll have to think about that. But let me tell you about the Polish sausage. I'll tell you about the sausage. You better get in. You better get in here. Oh. Anyway, we were asked by Sheena we would talk a little bit about end-fed antennas. She wanted to know a little bit of the differences between an end-fed antenna and an off-center fed dipole. Like, what's the difference? And I have one that I used a little bit. I'll talk about it because I'm not an expert at all about any of this stuff. But I had a Balun, and I was confused at what end to put up in the air. This is how I was. I ended up, I tried both. So I took the Balun. It was an LDG Balun. I still have it. And I tried it low, right? I put it low, and then I ended up throwing the other end up into a tree. Tested it, and I was like, it's okay. It's doing all right. I had it kind of put into a stake and zip tied it to that so it would stay there. The coax went to my rig. I was like, the SWR is pretty high. I didn't know. I just cut a piece of random wire. Then I was like, let me try the Balun on the tree end. And I run the wire back down. I'm like, but this is kind of, it's actually a lot more coax when I got to go all the way out to that side of it. So I don't know what to do. Not to hell with it. And I ended up putting something else up. But I've tried it a little bit. But Scotty actually runs one in real time. And it does well for him. And he's leaned on it. Why don't you talk a little bit about your setup with your end-fed?
Okay, yeah. So my main antenna currently is an end-fed half-wave antenna cut for 80 meters. It's 132 feet of wire with a 49-to-1 on-in transformer box, which I have bolted outside of the window. So I actually live on the third floor of this old house in this little town called Ellicott City. I live above a hair salon, actually, Kelly and I. And there's no yard at all. They're all literally straight out my back window. It's a creek, and then there's a small clearing on the other side of the creek, and then there's a road that kind of goes up kind of up and away from the backside of the buildings, and there's a tree there. And so I was trying to figure out how I was going to do some sort of a HF antenna, and I got the idea to try an end fed, because I just needed to figure out how to get the wire tossed up over the branch and then tie it off along one of the trees going up the road there. So so that's what I ended up going with, and it's worked great. And what I like about the end fed antenna, and this is similar for off center fed dipoles, is that you can use them on multiple bands. So my end fed is good on 80, 40, 20, 10, 17. Doesn't like 15 too much. And so that's worked out pretty good, because you do need a tuner for some of them to kind of touch up. My installation is not textbook by any means, and so my tuner allows me to kind of get it the rest of the way there. But I like the idea of the end fed because it is multi-band. Say versus like a regular dipole, it's tuned for to be resonant in a specific frequency range, and in some circumstances you can get away with using a dipole on a different band. But typically you would have to have a dipole antenna for every band that you wanted to be able to play on. With off center feds and end fed antennas, the resonant arms are changed some, and the impedance load changes, and that opens up the possibility to kind of work on other bands, especially if you have a tuner to kind of get you the rest of the way there. So the other antenna that I use at my brother's house is an off center fed dipole. I heard a little camera noise.
Yeah, I'm sending a picture. I'm sending a picture to
you're sending you more
to
photos.
Dickhead on the beach.
Dickhead on the beach.
The whole thing is out, not just the tip. The whole thing.
The rock lobster.
The rock lobster and his Gordos and everything. I'm not showing these pictures.
And so I'm a fan of these off center fed or end fed antennas because of their multi-band capabilities. You don't need a heavy duty tuner. Usually the internal tuner on your rig will be able to get them there on a wide variety of bands. And so if you only have the ability to put up, say, one wire antenna, you don't have the luxury of like Christian of having multiple dipoles everywhere.
Sounds weird when you say it. Why you say it like that, pal?
I'm envious of your
I understand.
Envious of your 160 meter double bazooka.
I understand.
I understand. So yeah, that's for them. I like those antennas for that reason, for their multi-band capability. If you can only put up one wire, I think they're a fine choice. If you're into the wire antenna thing.
Now, I don't know how much description you can get into with the end fed, and she was looking for the difference between an off center fed, and there's some really great books. I guess simply put, you're feeding the end fed into the end. The off center fed is not your typical dipole. Is got two equal lengths elements, and the off center fed's got obviously a little bit longer of an element, and it's not quite center like a traditional dipole would be. And what gets tricky for me, and as it's fan, and you can talk about what you know about these off center fed. I've got one for 20 and 40 that I built. It was a little tricky for me. I had to call in a little bit of help to try to figure out the tuning, because I was like, a traditional dipole, you're going, say 20 meters or even 40 meters. You're going inches at a time. In your tuning, and you're doing the same. If you're going to pull it back, to tune it back a couple inches on the one side, you do the exact same on the other side. On an off-center fed, it's different. And I've had Steve, I wish he was here so he could discuss it a little bit clearer. So it was tricky for me tuning this thing up for 20 and 40, but I got to tell you, it's my go-to, like, portable. I've made link dipoles, which I like a lot. But if it's super hot or it's super cold, you may not want to get out there and link up the two in the cold, And I kind of like the flexibility of an off-center fed. It gives me two bands that do really well because I built this thing. It's a 4-to-1 balun. and I can just go. I want to do 20 now. Bloop. And I don't have to get out there and physically change things or lower the mast, that kind of thing when I'm portable. Scotty's right. I'm lucky now. I wasn't always this lucky to have space. So my dipoles are, mono band, and I had to do a lot of work with what I have for 160. That space, oh my, I'm in the woods. I'm in the woods, and you think of it, you think of the woods and these trees, and there's no real straight path to anything, to grandma's house. It's where you got to go over a river, through the woods. Yeah, I mean, it's not the woods if it's a straight shot. So, there is some drawbacks to kind of doing business in the woods. Anyway, there was a question that came in, and I will share it. It's why does the antenna design differ for FM, single sideband, etc.? This in from Hawaii. How cool is this?
Yeah.
Was the photo I took. On VHS, single sideband and CW operations are normally horizontal, and FM modes are vertical. On 10-meter FM modes, it could be both, but using a 10-meter repeaters, it's vertical. How you like that, Dennis? That's a long-distance dedication. I'm going to do my Casey Kasem. That's a long...
That was the long path.
That was awesome. Told him, thanks. I still know you're in the Pacific Northwest. It's a contract thing. I know what you're doing. Yeah, I really think he's on the beach. Okay, cool. I hope that helps you, Sheena. We can go into it more detail when we bring in our antenna big brain here. We will try to ask him to explain a little bit more. I've got some really good books here, like we've mentioned before. If you can get to a Hamfest or even go to the ARRL or even eBay and look through the ham radio books, I know for a fact there are really good minds in our chat right now who could probably answer some specific questions that you may have. But send them in. Keep sending the questions in, and we'll talk about it. The off-center fed dipole is just the shorter side. And then you've got a longer. I'm trying to think of the dimensions of that 20 and 40 meter off center fed, but at 25 feet, it sings on both. It's well within what the radio will tune, but that's not good enough for me. I'm trying to get under 2-to-1 to start with, like just putting it together. I want to be there. I want to get in that kind of 1-to-4. I'm not going to get a 1-to-1 on both bands and an off-center fed. But, 1-to-4, even a 1-to-7, anything 2-to-1 and under, I was told by a contester, Dr. Scott, I'm going to butcher his call sign, so I won't do it, but big-time contester he's in Minnesota. He's in Minnesota, Towers, all the things. And I met him when I was on vacation. I found out that he was vacationing in the same place we were. And he was going to do some contesting stuff from that location. It was Turks and Caicos. I'd never been there. And he was setting up with a team of fellas on the island while I was there, and he invited me over. And we started talking about antennas and antenna theory. And he instilled in me, naturally, you're on the quest to get 1-to-1, 1.0. What you want the best you can get always. But he was like, Christian, if my antenna's, under 2-to-1, I'm good. I'm good with it, and I'm going to run with it. And that's kind of my thinking. And in the portable spot, I just want the antenna not to be as efficient as it can be. And there you go. 2-to-1.
Yeah, with the off-center fed, it's typically a 30. I'm trying to remember with the one I made, because I cut the one that I kind of made the one that I'm using at my brother's. So yeah, like a 30, 64, 36 sort of split as to where one end is shorter than the other, and that's about a 200 ohm impedance load at that spot. So you do need a 4-to-1 balun for an off-center fed. To match it down to 50 ohms at the feed point. And that's I don't really remember specific about the build.
All right, cool. All right, well, there you go. A couple folks have said that the new time slot works all right for them. You know, Friday night, I think it's one of the most anticipated nights of the week, so I'm happy that it works for some of you, but give us a thumbs up or put a yes in there if it definitely works for you. What it is it's working. The reason I talked about some of the changes, it's not like, oh, I'm got a program because Shorty over there's got a show on and I need to do something. I'm going to compete. We're going to win. Nothing about that at all. Wouldn't even know if there's another show happening. It's about literally, right? Ask the fellas. They'll tell you. I don't know. They tell me stuff. I'm like, I didn't know. But this worked out because it's like, okay, here's a strip. How about something between Monday and Friday evening? And then it was like, this day's better. This one's okay. My kid's got something on this day. Friday works. Then it was like, this Friday, Monday's no good. And Friday came back like, Friday's cool. Like, Friday's a good day. Friday's good. So for me, if it's good with my kids, we were doing Saturday mornings and my daughter started swimming and dancing. And it was like, dad duties win, guys. We got to pack it in. Let's find a new day. We'll just move off. And so, yeah, I think programming in the amateur radio world is important, probably in the visual realm, like the YouTubers. I've never really considered myself a YouTuber proper. I do consider myself a streamer because it never really mattered to us when the folks got it. As long as they got the show each week, I was cool. You know, they had something new by a certain time. That was cool. And everything else was just family-based. So there you go. But it's good to see some people here. We got the Linux in the Ham Shack podcast. Good to see you guys as well. Those guys are teaching stuff as well. Big Don is here. We call him Mitts. He's in Minnesota. Minnesota Mitts. We used had Minnesota Fats would stroke the 8-ball, but not Don. That's Mitts. You ask him why he's Mitts. Ricardo is here. He's in a paradise of his own. So good to see him, and I hope your wife feels better, Ricardo. Sheena is here. Where are you at, Sheena? You in Minnesota too? For some reason, I feel like you're northwest of me. Kevin's here. Let's put the states here where you are, and we'll try to figure it out. Some of them I know. They've been around for such a long time. Friday nights are all right for fighting. Kevin, a little twist there on the Elton John. Very nice. I see what you did there, Kevin. Speaking about the... You know, anything off of... Was that on Yellow Brick Road? I was a early Elton John. I liked Goodbye Yellow Brick Road. That's a great
That's a good record. That's a good record.
That's good stuff.
That's a great one, Scotty. Woo! So I think that is on that one. We played that at MMR in Philly. I did not play that in Baltimore. Now we're just shooting the breeze. Dennis is here. Oh, who else? Todd is here. Todd is near Pittsburgh, right, Todd? You're in Pennsylvania somewhere. I'm guessing on a lot of this. Mark, he is the new owner of the Browns Motel. He lives in whatever room he damn well wants to, unquote. Michael is here. Hello to Michael and all the folks. Good.
From all over.
I'm glad it's working out. I'm glad Friday night works out for you guys, and at least this one. And we'll try to hold it here as much as we can or as long as we can. I think it's time for us to take another break, Scotty. We got to do some more stuff. What is it? Oh, it's almost Ham Fest time, right?
It is Ham Fest time.
It's Ham Fest time, and Scotty comes up with new ones every month, even in the thick and cold of November through February. Scotty's like, I found one.
There's always something going on somewhere.
Whoops, it's canceled. What's going on? Any Ham Fest that we should know about?
Yeah, there's weather's getting warmer. Spring has sprung in some places, and unless you're Don in Minnesota, then he's still dealing with the chilly weathers. What else we got? What have we got going on here? We have March 24th and 25th this coming weekend. We have the ARRL Maine State Convention and Hamfest in Lewiston, Maine. On the 25th, the Tucson area Spring Hamfest in Tucson, Arizona. Tomorrow, the one I'll be attending bright and early in the AM, the Fred Fest 23 in Frederick, Maryland, which is literally 3 miles from my brother's house.
Oh, it's perfect.
That's gonna be cool, and it's an indoor one too. It's supposed to rain tomorrow, so this is an indoor ham fest. So that works out. And there's a bunch more happening. Check out the events channel on the Discord. See if there's a ham fest happening in your neck of the woods.
Nice, I like that.
Get your head under the table. Look for that coax.
Damn, we almost made it through a show without it. You thought he was gonna say Gordo's? You don't have to do me. It's my show, but I get it. Thank you for all the tips. Give her the whole thing.
Give it the whole thing.
Damn it!
Tips
I want to. The tips are popular tonight. If you're looking for a power solution, friends, you're looking for power. Check out Bioenno Power, offering the best lithium phosphate batteries for your ham radios. Visit bioennopower.com. That's BIOENNO power.com. I like mixing up the music a little bit. And to learn more about the 100 Watts in a Wire community, visit 100wattsinawire.com. Check out the podcast archive. We've been kicking it. This is actually episode 397. Good Lord, we need to do something on the 400th. I don't know what.
Great googly moogly.
Yeah.
400 episode.
That's pretty crazy. It does. Where does the time go? You can register for a 100 watt ID. It comes to you. You register, comes to you in a few days. Be patient. A busy human does that stuff. And you can pick up your sweatshirt. I saw Todd's going to get himself a T-shirt and a mug. I got stickers. I got the koozies. We got the what was the new item we put in?
Oh, the Tuggies.
The Tuggies. Everybody needs a Tuggy. So go to 100wattsinawire.com and pick you up a Tuggy. It's Steve Shift. Call now. He will take care of it. Go get him, and he's got it in his contract. How about
Make sure you request sidecar for that Tuggy.
Sidecar. Yeah, just for your coupon code, sidecar. That's it. Well, limited time only.
Oh, man.
So I woke up this morning. That sounds like the beginning of a blues song in itself. I woke up this morning, thank goodness, and I'm mad about the whole social medias. And, here we are. And I made a comment last week. I think I went on a little riff about it. And maybe it wasn't as eloquent as I wanted it to be. It was 7 a.m. on a Sunday. And so I'm kind of going off between the socials. We've been on Facebook all this time, and we have a big gathering over there, 15,000 people plus, right? We're on Discord, and there's a few hundred people over there, and it's a laid back feel on Discord. It's kind of it's like beach life. We're talking about the weather. There's a picture of whatever, and hey, Gordo's, there's a guy, and here's a GIF or whatever. Like, okay. And recently I started doing the TikTok videos, and I like the 1 minute quick things. I do a walk and talk. Usually, I haven't done as many in this past week or so because of my daughter's situation and just trying to hold things together back at the base camp. But anyway, I really enjoy it. I take a walk in the morning, bring up a topic, fine. And for a long time, people were talking about, this is Chinese-owned thing, and you got to watch out, and all this and all. So I talked about it on the last show, and the TikTok guy, the CEO, is in front of Congress. And, Scotty, this was the biggest S show in the land, right? And so I basically said on the podcast last week that anything that our government now is complaining about with TikTok can be said of Google and Twitter and Facebook and you name it. And you name it, what they're outlining, right? It just happens to be, for me, money. It's a money-based thing. Our country cannot get our mitts on that money, and these congressmen want that money. I woke up this morning thinking, F you, Zucky. And he locked me out like last year. I was locked out for He might pull the
Yeah,
plug on this if he can get a hold of this on the Google. God bless you, Google. Don't pull the plug yet. Don't do that.
yeah, that was a fiasco. I remember that.
Months. I was locked out a couple of months, and then I had a friend who works over at that company, and I said, I've been locked out. I can't get a hold of anybody. And she, bloop, next thing you know, I was in. I was like, what the heck? So I woke up and I'm like, man, what am I gonna do? Like, I feel like our boy Zuck is, what do they call it when you go to the politicians and you campaign, not campaign for him, your what is
Lobby.
it called? That's it. But he's got all of it, all of them. This is the Dems and the Republicans. I don't get into politics here on this, all my stuff. I don't. But I got into it last week on the last podcast because I feel like it's not about what they're saying. It's about something else. It's not. And somebody wrote me on YouTube, if I could find it. It was just a comment about what I had said, and they're like, giving me these good loves, talking about the show and why the show's different than other shows and all this. I appreciated it. But then he's like, got a little twisted up about the social stuff. And he was like, don't sell out. And I'm like, what you talking about? What you talking about? Like I'm fighting for TikTok. I have no real super brand app loyalty. The loyalty is to our audience and the people, and I don't compete against other podcasts or other YouTube channels. I'm competing for your time as a person. I would like you to listen to my stuff. It's not about me fighting, and it's not about TikTok or Facebook or Twitter. There's no loyalty for me to that because tomorrow there'll be a new one. So it's not about, I want to protect TikTok. TikTok could go away, there'll be a new one. There are others. People were like, there's this one over here called Romper Bomper or Rampage or like, And I'm like, what? I don't want another mouth to feed. I enjoyed TikTok because there's a lot of information. So I went off. I know this is a little bit more of a rant here. I want to be able to have the free speech. I like the free speech and the information that comes from TikTok. And I felt a little bit put off by the fact that our government could say, no. When our boys at Facebook were doing the exact same thing. Anyway, I'll save you from that. But I just wanted to let the people know that it's not a particular, if Google went nutty, I'd go to Twitch or whatever and stream on the Twitch, right? The trick is keeping your audience and your community up to date with where you're going. That's I want to make sure that we're letting everybody know where we are. It's just like this move. This move wasn't tricky. This was the family move. We did it because this is where the three of us can get together. And when we can't, I'll snap it off at 5:30 in the morning. It's like that. It's kind of like that. But anyway, Scotty, I don't get political. Y'all know I don't get into that stuff. But
no politics. No need for politics and for a nice little ham radio. But I get your point. And it's like this hypocrisy with the singling out TikTok when Google and Facebook and all the others are guilty of the same things they're accusing TikTok of being guilty of.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky. I thought about cutting out, and I was like, I have 15,000 people over there. What does it say? I felt trapped. And I'm reading stories about the Instagram. I like Instagram for a completely different reason. I like Twitter to curate my news sometimes. I subscribe to things that I feel are more down the middle, if that's even possible anymore. It curates my news. So that social media platform has a role. TikTok has a role. YouTube has a role. It helps us for our streaming. They all have a different purpose for me. So, and they all can be suspect to whatever.
I use the socials in a similar way. Facebook for me is mostly just to communicate with people in my community. We have a community Facebook page, and that's where all the news in and about town happens, and storm warnings and stuff. That all happens there. Discord for me is where I hang out with my ham radio friends and family. I use Instagram to as for my my home studio consulting service. That's all Instagram. I don't have that on any of the other socials. So similar idea of using the different platforms for different purposes.
KD5 PCK might be joking, talking about MySpace, but there was a talk this week. Just in fact, I guess it's tricky back? If they feel like, I don't think it left, but I think like they might. Man, we are really getting into it. Let me just tell you what I think about it. I think Zucky feels that if he can help squeeze out his competition, because TikTok is taking and eating their lunch. It's not like crazy Chinese theory here. This is just a platform that people here enjoy. Okay? And it happens to make a lot of money. Facebook is on the downslide. You guys, this community, has been talking about Facebook for years, about how they don't trust it, they don't know it, Zucky can suck it. So it's like, oh, that's why Discord came up, because I'm like, I need a place to go. What we're going to do? Anyway, it's just a rant. But TikTok taking the money and is wiping them with it, because they're actually doing something that is interest-based. It's called an interest. Oh, what is it called? It's not a social like Facebook. It's interest-based. And so people can, if you want to watch Stevie Ray Vaughan videos, I do. Show me some Stevie Ray on TikTok. I swipe up and you'll see Stevie Ray. You'll see anybody who's trying to play like Stevie Ray interviews. It's interest-based. So the algorithm is giving you your interest. I just feel like, the government can't get their hands on it, on that money, but they'll change. We won't ban it if you give us a piece. It's kind of the mentality right now. And that's like, dude. Anyway, I just don't like bans on our information. Oh, Lord. Sheena, carry me out here. Somebody play the damn music. Somebody hit the music. This is just crazy. All right. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Good times.
I don't want to keep everybody up too late. It's much different here. Much different on a Friday night. Are we all going to move to the air? Does everybody got to... What happens now? We just kind of... That's a thought. We got to think through our... we usually butt up against our net, which was a very sexy thing. And maybe one day we'll come back. And maybe we'll stream some of the net stuff, right? I don't know. Right now, it's like we're just making a quick change to suit the needs of the Kudnick household, I guess you'd say. But are we getting on the air? Are we going to do this? Who's ready? We got some people here, right? We got some people here. You ready to make some contacts? Pick a frequency, and Scotty and I will chase you. And we can do that.
Might be a little busy at the moment.
Yeah, you got that contest
with the contest going on.
No, we could maybe stream again in the weekend and do some chasing or something like that. That might be kind of interesting. Or post
that would
up.
be cool.
Check the links in the description while you're listening. We've also got the links there for YouTube and all that sort of stuff. Subscribe and like and stay engaged with our community. Discord and Facebook, they're kind of like the glue between the shows. We let you know what's happening on those things, and people will talk to us as well all week through there. I'm really interested in what you're struggling with, if you're a new ham or a newer ham, or even if you've been in the game for a while and you're just stuck, like I'm stuck on digital modes. I'm not trying. I'm an HF guy. It's too hard for me to take a digital mistress at this point. I got my hands full. Voluptuous HFer. That sounded terrible. I'll be back.
Ain't no time for that digital business.
But, there are older folks who have been in the game for a while, don't get it. Let us know what you're struggling with. Drop me a line. Leave us a comment under the videos, under the podcast as well. Hope it worked for you. Big Don Mitz is saying he's going to 14313, but isn't that the, that's the, where they talk about nasty stuff. I think
he was being facetious.
You're being facetious? Oh, is that what he does on a Friday? Mitz, apparently. You drinking the 3 fingers deep?
He's 2 mitts deep.
All right, everybody, take care of yourself. Discord. What'd you see? He's in Discord?
Oh,
all right.
No, I said I saw him earlier on the Discord with the, he had some nice, we're talking about some nice bourbons, so.
Ooh, yes, I need that. I need to get to some Buffalo Trace. think that's older than America is. That's been around a long time. All right, brothers and sisters, thank you, Scotty, for being here and listening to me rant about the social media. I just want to make a place where the people can meet and try to meet people where they are without a whole lot of riffraff and interference. Huh? Good grief. He's KC3BXN. I am Kilo Zero Sierra Tango Hotel. Wishing you all a wonderful week and a great weekend. Take care of yourselves and look after each other. We'll say aloha, or what do you say, goodbye in Hawaiian to our friend Steve Sidecar, who's out there? I don't remember. I don't know. Go after
I've never
yourself.
been.
Get your ass back home. What are you doing to us? You're leaving us high and dry? Adios. That's a good one. 7-3, everybody. Take care of yourselves. And by all means, try and stay above the noise. 7-3, y'all.
To join the 100 Watts in a Wire community, visit 100wattsinawire.com.